It is October 24th, 2016, and this is HackHappy's weekly vulnerability report. And this week we have 32 vulnerabilities. Number 32, Cisco ASA 5500X series with firepower services lets remote users cause the target snort service to restart. Number 31, IBM AIX has an unspecified bug in LSM code that lets local users obtain root privileges. Number 30, Cisco Prime Infrastructure. Oracle WebLogic server bug lets remote users deny service, gain elevated privileges, and lets local users access and modify data on the target system. Number 29, HPE ArcSight. WINC connector has an unspecified flaw that lets remote users execute arbitrary code on the target system. Number 28, PHP buffer overflow. In the PHP PCRE replace IMPL function, lets remote users execute arbitrary code. Number 27, Oracle Financial Services application has multiple flaws that lets remote and local users access data, remote users modify data, and remote authenticated users gain elevated privileges. Number 26, MySQL has multiple bugs that lets remote users access and modify data, remote and local users deny service, and local users modify data and gain elevated privileges. Number 25, IBM Rational Rhapsody Design Manager has an input validation flaw in the IBM Jazz Foundation Web UI component that lets remote users conduct cross-site scripting attacks. Number 24, GlassFish Enterprise Server lets remote authenticated users gain elevated privileges. Number 23, OpenSSH key exchange initialization bug in kex input kex init function lets remote users consume excessive memory resources. Number 22, Red Hat storage command line. Parameter password lets local users view the password. Number 21, Oracle Java. Oracle Java SE multiple flaws exist that let multiple users access data and partially modify data and gain elevated privileges. Number 20, Linux kernel copy on write, or aka Dirty Cow, is a copy on write memory management race condition that lets local users obtain elevated privileges. Number 19, IBM Rational Systems Architect Design Manager has input validation flaws in IBM Jazz Foundation Web UI component that lets remote users conduct cross-site scripting attacks. Number 18, Mozilla Firefox use after free memory error in the following lets remote users execute arbitrary code, as well as web cache bug lets remote users view potentially sensitive information. Number 17, EMC data storage and virtual editions has unspecified flaws that lets remote authenticated users gain elevated privileges. Number 16, Oracle VM VirtualBox has multiple flaws that lets remote and local users access and modify data, and lets local users deny service and gain elevated privileges. Number 15, Red Hat JBoss Enterprise Application Platform File Upload Component lets remote users consume excessive CPU resources on the target. Number 14, IBM Rational Quality Manager input validation flaw in IBM Jazz Foundation Web UI component lets remote users conduct cross-site scripting attacks. Number 13, Oracle Database has multiple flaws that lets remote and local users access and modify data, gain elevated privileges, and lets local users deny service. Number 12. Oracle eBusiness Suite has multiple flaws that lets remote users access and modify data, and lets local users access data and gain elevated privileges. Number 11. SOLARIS has multiple bugs that lets remote and local users access data and deny service. It also lets local users modify data and deny service. Number 10. Oracle Enterprise Manager has bugs that lets remote users access data and lets local users access and modify data. Number 9. Cisco ASA Local Certificate Authority Enrollment bug lets remote users cause the target system to reload. Number 8. Oracle Fusion Middleware bugs lets remote and local users access and modify data and deny service, as well as lets remote users gain elevated privileges. Number 7. IBM Rational Team Concert Input Validation Flaw in IBM Jazz Foundation Web UI component lets remote users conduct cross-site scripting attacks. Number 6. IBM INFOSPHERE Information Service Engine File Connector Configuration Flaw lets remote authenticated users view files on the target system. Number 5. Bind DNS Packet Options Processing Flaw lets remote users cause the target service to crash. Number 4. Palo Alto PAN-OS Input Validation Flaw in Monitor tab lets remote authenticated users conduct cross-site scripting attacks. Number 3. Oracle PeopleSoft Enterprise People Tools with multiple flaws lets remote users access and modify data on the target system. Number 2. Cisco ASA Buffer Overflow in Identity Firewall lets remote users execute arbitrary code. And lastly, Palo Alto PAN-OS Unspecified Flaw permits JavaScript execution attacks. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this week. I appreciate you guys watching. Come back next week for more vulnerabilities, and I will see you on the other side.